How's it going, everybody? Destauch here. And I actually think Halo Infinite could turn the tide for Xbox if it's handled properly. Now, we know that the game's kind of in a not perfect state. It's kind of hard to tell what state it's in just because we only really complain about the graphics. But I mean, the gameplay and everything else could be fine. A lot of those Glassdoor reviews kind of concern me just because, you don't like the kind of rotating door policy. You kind of want what Bungie did, where they had a group of people and they just, finished the game together over the course of, a couple years. And 343 seems a little bit more scatterbrained than that, and I just hope that they can come through. But with everything Xbox is doing, I think that they could actually come on top this generation. Now, Halo Infinite is vital to that, but I mean, just look at things like the Xbox Series S. Now, I'm actually more excited about the Series S than the X, actually, just because, I mean, you're getting a $300 console, which is the price of some graphics cards, and you're going to be getting 2K gaming at 120 FPS with like the same amount of performance that you can get from an Xbox Series X. I also hate that name scheming. It's so confusing. Just the S, the X, the 1X, the 1S. So confusing. One little drawback, but it's a little thing. But the fact that we have the Series S and it's a $300 console with how powerful it is, it's going to appeal to a lot of people. I mean, say what you will about 4K, it's great. I have a 4K TV, I have a 1X, I love 4K. But I don't really need 4K. I think 2K on its own is fine. I mean, 2K is basically double 1080p. So you really don't necessarily need that. And the fact that they came to their senses about it and stopped pushing this whole 4K thing and decided, hey, if they want 2K, give them 2K. It's great because now we have a $300 console, which is around the same size of a GameCube. So it's an astounding deal. And the Series X too, I mean, a 4K gaming console that can do 120 FPS 4K, that's outstanding, especially when you compare it to like RTX graphics cards. That's not as good as them, but I mean, you're still getting everything. You're getting the ray tracing, you're getting the high frame rate, the 4K. You may not be getting 8K all the time. I know the Series X actually says it can do 8K, but I really doubt it can do 8K. Just saying. But the fact it can do all these things is great, and for how cheap it is as well. But what Halo Infinite needs to do at this point is Halo Infinite needs to be a banger game. I mean, it has to be the system seller because we have everything at this point. We got Game Pass, which is an amazing deal. It's getting EA Play partnered with it. I mean, that's a fantastic deal. Now I can finally play Skate 3. But I know it's a drum beat to death, but Xbox just is struggling in the gaming department, and I'm kind of having a hard time understanding why. I mean, they've had this entire generation to get their stuff back together, and they kind of haven't. It's kind of been the same place we were in at the beginning of this generation with a lack of exclusives, perhaps even less, because we had, what was it, that jumping game with the orange juice, Sunset Overdrive, yeah. And we had things like Quantum Break, which I believe came a little bit later, but I don't know what's happening right now. But I think if Halo Infinite can come through, it can really propel the Xbox really far, because Halo isn't just an exclusive to Xbox. I mean, it's a entire genre-defining experience. I mean, Halo Combat Evolved completely changed the way consoles handled FPSs. It revolutionized things like aim assist, regenerating health pickups, so many great things that existed but were refined for the console experience. And even Sony could never match an FPS on the same quality as Halo. People like Killzone, but even Killzone doesn't reach the highest of highs when it comes to its gameplay. And while it does have some pretty good production quality, I'll give it that. Killzone 2 is one of the greatest looking games I've played. But really, to me, Killzone was always just a technical showcase of the PlayStation. But Halo wasn't just a technical showcase. It had amazing gameplay, and I've kind of noticed that because I've recently been playing things like Red Faction 2, which came out quite a bit after Combat Evolved, and it actually had much worse graphics, and the gameplay was nowhere near as good. And if Halo can recapture what it did with Combat Evolved with Halo Infinite, which I think it could propel Xbox forward and really put it on top. And a lot of people say, hey, it doesn't matter if Halo's the biggest game anymore. It doesn't even matter if Xbox is the biggest brand. But I have to disagree. I mean, I spent the entire day yesterday looking for a proper headset, and all of the headsets were for PlayStation. I couldn't find one wireless headset that worked with the Xbox, and it's just because the demand isn't as high as for PlayStation. So these companies are stocking PlayStation accessories more than Xbox accessories, which, you know, it's not a big deal, just get it on Amazon, but, you know, it's a little bit of a disheartening piece of, you know, reality when we're dealing with, you know, the Xbox brand. It's just not as popular. And we're also dealing with, you know, quality of life things like, you know, the Call of Duty exclusivity. It's really annoying, and I really don't want exclusivity to come to the Xbox when it comes to third-party games, but I just wish that, you know, there would be more incentive for these companies to not do exclusives and, you know, give a fairer playing field because both consoles are popular. But anyways, that's basically all I had to talk about today. The board is basically set for Xbox. It's just Halo needs to come through, and it could propel Xbox further than it's ever been before. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic in the comments, and anyways, this was Destauch, and I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, if you liked the video, please like it, and if you really liked it, try subscribing. I'll see you in the next one. Destauch out.